I used to think keeping the peace made me a good person, the quiet one in the room, the one who smiled and said, "It's fine," even when it wasn't. For years, that felt like strength, being calm when others weren't. But lately, it's been feeling less like calmness and more like a slow suffocation I volunteered for. It started in small ways, a coworker taking credit for an idea and me saying nothing. A friend canceling last minute and me replying, "No worries." My partner making decisions for both of us while I convinced myself I didn't mind. I told myself I was easygoing, but deep down, something whispered, "Why do you keep disappearing for everyone else?" That whisper grew louder. Maybe it started when someone interrupted me for the third time and I just stopped talking. Or when I agreed to extra work because silence was easier than saying no. I left those moments smiling outside and burning inside. The resentment didn't explode, it fermented, turning my kindness bitter. One evening, my partner asked, "Where do you want to eat?" And I said, "Anywhere's fine." Automatic. We ended up somewhere I didn't like, again. Halfway through dinner, she asked, "Do you actually not have preferences, or are you just avoiding something?" Her words hung in the air like a truth I'd been dodging. I wanted to defend myself, but deep down I knew I wasn't avoiding arguments. I was avoiding myself. Fear had disguised itself as virtue. My fear of conflict looked like humility, cooperation, maturity, but underneath was anxiety, the old dread that if I ever pushed back, people would leave. Somewhere in childhood, I learned love was fragile, so I made myself small to keep it. When I first read Karen Horney, something clicked. She described the moving toward personality, those who seek safety by pleasing and complying. I recognized myself instantly. My peacekeeping wasn't serenity, it was survival. My kindness was a shield, my silence a truce, signed in fear. Once I saw it, I couldn't unsee it. Every "sure," every "I'm fine" was self-erasure. I had mistaken passivity for peace, but peace without honesty isn't peace, it's pretense. I was angry, but not at others, angry at myself for giving away my boundaries so easily. That hit hardest at work. My manager proposed an impossible deadline. The room was quiet. My old instinct said, "Just agree," but something inside me hesitated. I felt that familiar tightness, the mix of anxiety and resentment. I took a breath and said, "I think that timeline's too tight." The room paused. My manager blinked, then said, "Okay, let's revisit it." No explosion, just truth spoken aloud. It felt small, but to me it was freedom. Confrontation isn't the enemy. Avoidance is. Every time I silenced myself, I taught others that my needs were optional. Over time, I grew resentful not because people took advantage of me, but because I kept inviting them to. Horney wrote about the tyranny of the shoulds, that split between the real self and the idealized self. My ideal self was endlessly agreeable. The real me had limits and opinions, but I feared that showing that would make me unlovable. I chased approval like oxygen. Every compliment felt like air, every frown suffocation. Ironically, my efforts to keep love often pushed it away. You can't connect with people while pretending to be frictionless. Relationships need honest edges. Without them, you become a mirror instead of a person. One night, scrolling through messages with a close friend, I realized how I'd been nodding along for months, comforting, agreeing, never showing anything real. I thought I was being supportive, but I was absent in the one way that mattered: authenticity. I messaged her, told her I'd been hiding to avoid tension. She replied, "I've missed the real you." I stared at those words for a long time. Rediscovering that real me is slow work. It means pausing before I automatically say yes, letting silence stretch until I hear my true answer, admitting I care about where we go, how I'm spoken to, what I need. It's uncomfortable, like learning a forgotten language. The old fear still visits. When I sense disagreement coming, my heart races. I imagine rejection, anger, loss. But I remind myself, these are echoes, not prophecies. Horney called it basic anxiety, that childhood feeling of helplessness when love felt conditional. I still carry it, but naming it weakens its hold. Recently, a colleague told me I wasn't as cooperative as before. The guilt came fast. I almost apologized. Then I realized I wasn't being uncooperative, I was being clear. I smiled and said, I still want to help, just with boundaries. He looked surprised, but I felt steady. Standing my ground didn't make me hard to love. It made love possible. There's peace in no longer performing peace, the kind that doesn't depend on being liked. It grows quietly from self-respect. I used to think confrontation meant conflict. Now I see it as communication, saying I matter too. Sometimes I think about all the resentments I built in silence. How many smiles were tiny surrenders. But I don't blame myself anymore. Those patterns once kept me safe. Horney taught that our neurotic needs are not flaws, but adaptations, our best attempts to protect love. They deserve compassion, not shame. So I talk to that younger me, the one who kept the peace to keep the love. I tell him, you did what you had to, but you're safe now. You can speak. And when I do speak, I can almost feel him exhale, like he's been waiting all along. People around me are adjusting. Some appreciate the honesty, some miss the old version of me. That's okay. I'm not here to be everyone's comfort zone anymore. I'm here to be whole. The cost of never being disliked is never being known, and I'd rather be known, even if sometimes misunderstood. So when I feel that urge to say, it's fine, when it's not, I pause. I ask myself, what would the real me say? Sometimes it's shaky but real. Each time I honor it, I reclaim a piece of myself I once traded for approval. I used to think I was keeping the peace. Now I see peace was never mine to keep until I made room for my truth. Conflict isn't the enemy of love. Pretense is. Resentment is just love that's been silenced too long. So I speak. Not to win, not to prove, but to live. To connect honestly, to risk friction, to let others see me unfiltered. Because finally, I understand the quietest resentment in the world still makes noise inside you, and the only way to stop hearing it is to listen to yourself out loud.